I'm gonna read you this interaction. This is DHL, the worst fucking shipping service around. It should not exist. This is the worst fucking thing I've ever dealt with. If you guys do ever have a DHL tracking number and you have an estimated date of delivery, it's probably going to deliver the day after and or be a week late or never arrive. It is dog shit. This company is fucking horrible. So here's their bullshit robot, which should not exist, as it reads, "Greetings, how can I assist?" So it said, "Shipment late." I dumbed it down because anytime I've reacted, or technically it's a reaction, I've tried to present this thing with any form of information, it always responds with a stupid fucking response that does not help whatsoever. So it says, "What number do you want to track?" And yeah, I could get the shipping number. I'm not going to do it because I'm trying to show you guys what's what. I said, "You are useless." "I must be missing some knowledge. I'll have my developer look into this." I said, "You are a waste of time." And yeah, I'm just being a dick to this thing to see how it will respond. I've been doing this with what people consider, the early, is it Mac innovations? I don't think I'm saying it right. The earlier iterations of what you would consider AI. Um, "I can be trained to be more useful. My developer will keep training me." So I said, "No, thank you. I would prefer a human in every situation." And these things should be well understood. Now, the reason I say that is here in the Pacific Northwest, I do have to deal, unfortunately, with Comcast because it's a racket. Comcast is one of the most. It's one of the. It's up there on the list with DHL. In other words, it's one of the worst companies I've ever had the displeasure of having to deal with. Now, with that in mind, when Comcast first started out, when I first set up an account with Comcast, they were above board and it used to be really top notch. It was top notch. You skip the really. I didn't have to throw that in there. It was flowery, but I shouldn't have. Um, Comcast was sincerely one of the better companies when it first started out. The pricing wasn't ridiculous. Their service was fucking good. Granted, I think they stretched themselves too thin. They grew, too big for their britches and all that other stuff. I'd say around 2011 is when that changed for me with Comcast. As if any of you will see this video or care, but you might relate. Um, I was living in a suburb of, it was on the outskirts of Portland, Oregon at the time. And it was kind of almost like a communal home, the way it was built, the way it was structured. It wasn't an apartment, but it was conjoint with other tenants. I was only connected with one other unit, unfortunately. And one of the things Comcast did during this time frame was and I mean, shit happens, mistakes happen. I'm human. I make a lot of them. But this was a weird one. They shut off my service randomly. They didn't know what happened. Nobody could tell me what happened. And what technically happened was there were new tenants moving in next door to me. So they incorrectly clipped the wrong fucking line. And they were trying to set up my neighbor's internet, and then they couldn't figure out what the fuck happened. So I'd say probably a half a month went by, and Comcast didn't know what they were doing. And that terrified me. It was not terrified, it was a concern. Because in the past, Comcast knew what they were doing. This also coincided with them adding additional fees and jacking shit up and doing what they're doing today with the bullshit. "Well, now you're on this fucking plan and you'll be on this plan for however long, but there's blah, 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 and there's no commitment, but here, let me just sign you up for this." And anytime you call Comcast, you have to waste time with their fucking IVR system, which is the robot, which is the worst one I've ever dealt with. Followed by customer service, who is, I mean, these kids, they don't have a diploma between the two of them if there's two people sitting next to each other. And now, because some of it's remote, there might just be one asshole in a room, which is why they don't have supervisors anymore. And they have no idea what they're talking about. All they can do is copy and paste responses. And this is this isn't customer service. This is the first line of defense, and technically it's the first human line of defense after the fucking bullshit IVR system. Um, this is quite literally the sales team, and they don't know they're the sales team. These people are so stupid. They signed up for a job and they're selling people shit, and they think that they're customer service. And most of them aren't bright enough to connect you with somebody who is actually, in some way, technical support. I mean, most of Comcast is structured as quite literally the sales team now, which is fucking bullshit. All of them will tell you, can I tell you about setting up a fucking phone line? I'm like, your fucking internet doesn't work. I don't want a fucking phone line. And they'll keep talking. They'll just keep talking. It's retarded. This is not unlike that. DHL is garbage. It's just as fucking retarded. I know I didn't read all of these, but the bottom line is I called this thing a retard, and it says, I'm sorry, I still didn't understand your question. I am a digital assistant that is still learning. Because this is fucking retarded. This is not how things should be. The year is 2025, even though most retards assume it's 2026. The new year doesn't begin until March 21st. And things should be more efficient. It should be more streamlined than ever before. But that's not the case. You wouldn't... It would make a lot of fucking superficial internet babies' heads spin. I do not update quote-unquote technology because the updates are making things worse. The updates are quite literally undoing the things that once were efficient. And now the updates, more often than not, are fucking mandatory. That is a red flag. That is a fascist red flag. Things that used to work should keep working, and they should only get better. Things that used to work should never, ever be subject to a mandatory update and or cease to work until you fucking update it based on the mandatory update. Case in point, the phone I'm using right now, for now, I have not updated it, and it still works. I'm surprised, to be honest. And that will probably change down the line. But if you consider social engineering tactics, the fucking manipulation on the DARPA internet, social media by and large, most of these fucking platforms, they cease to work the moment that a quote-unquote mandatory update, which did not exist, it didn't used to, and it by no right should, but now it does, they cease to exist, or they cease to work until you update it. These apps. That's a red flag. That should fuck with you. I just saw somebody from back home in New Mexico talking about, well, we're not going to buy anything, we're not sell anything, we're not going to do anything on Friday because fuck ICE. And so I left a lot of comments on there. A lot of things that some of you have probably heard me say before, and I'm not going to say them in this video. And I might get blocked by that account. You never know. It's a business, I think, that was shopping it around. I'm pretty sure it's a Mexican business. And it makes sense because ICE should not exist and it would not exist if you and I were surrounded by smart people. I think the account in question has a good heart. I think they're coming from a decent place. But same difference with what I'm complaining about having to do with this. This shit would be fucking efficient if you and I weren't surrounded by fucking retards. Think about it. Unless, of course, you're a fucking retard.